Hello and welcome to this special edition of the World Report with me, Arjun Mahendran. And a very Merry Christmas to all our viewers celebrating today. Let's take a look at what's making headlines around the world. Kazakh authorities have announced that an Embraer passenger plane flying from Azerbaijan to Russia has crashed near the city of Aktau in Kazakhstan just a short while ago. 67 passengers and 5 crew were on board. Initial reports suggest that 12 people have survived, while Kazakhstan's emergency ministry says 42 people have likely died in the crash. Unverified video of the crash showed the plane, which was operated by Azerbaijan Airlines, bursting into flames as it hit the ground and thick black smoke then rising. Meanwhile, the Central Asian country's emergencies ministry has said in a statement that fire services have put out the blaze and that survivors are being treated at a nearby hospital. In rare airstrikes on Tuesday, Pakistan targeted multiple suspected hideouts of Pakistan Taliban inside neighboring Afghanistan. Now, this resulted in the death of at least 15 people, including women and children. The strikes were carried out in a mountainous area in Paktika province bordering Pakistan, where the local authorities said the number of deaths is expected to rise. Pakistani security officials have said that the strike dismantled a training facility and killed some insurgents. The Taliban, meanwhile, has condemned the unilateral strikes and warned of retaliation. Local media is reporting the airstrikes have caused severe civilian casualties and widespread destruction, further escalating tensions in the region. As recovery efforts continue, further investigation is required to confirm details and clarify responsibility for these attacks. External Affairs Minister Jaishankar will be in the US till the 29th of December. Now, this marks the first high-level engagement between New Delhi and Washington following Donald Trump's presidential election victory. According to the Ministry of External Affairs, Dr. Jaishankar will hold discussions with counterparts on vital bilateral, regional and global matters. He is also scheduled to chair a conference of India's consul generals in the US. According to reports, he is expected to hold meetings with both Trump and Biden administration officials. Israel has instructed its diplomatic missions in Europe to try and get Iran-backed Houthis in Yemen designated as a terrorist organization. Now, the Houthis have repeatedly fired drones and missiles towards Israel in what the group describes as acts of solidarity with Palestinians fighting Israeli forces in Gaza. The attacks have disrupted international shipping routes, forcing farms to reroute the longer and more expensive journeys that have in turn stoked fears over global inflation.
מדינת ישראל. אני הזהרתי ואמרתי שכמו שטיפלנו בסינואר בעזה, בהנייה בטהרן ובנסראללה בביירות, אנחנו נטפל גם בראשי החות'ים בצנעא ובכל מקום בתימן. אנחנו נפעל גם נגד התשתיות שלהם וגם נגדם כדי להסיר את האיום.
Russia has claimed that its forces have struck multiple Ukrainian targets on Tuesday. On the other hand, Ukraine has reported repelling multiple Russian attacks on the same day. Now, the Russian Ministry of Defense has said that its air and artillery forces targeted Ukrainian military personnel and amassed military equipment across 146 regions. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian Armed Forces General Staff has said that there have been 179 battles on frontline zones, and Ukrainian forces persisted in obstructing Russian offensives, with skirmishes ongoing in certain areas. US President-elect Donald Trump has said he will direct the Department of Justice to quote-unquote vigorously pursue the death penalty after Joe Biden commuted the death sentences of 37 federal inmates to life in prison. Trump has vowed to protect American families and children from violent rapists, murderers, and monsters. After Biden's commutation of most federal death row inmates, there will be just 3 individuals in federal prisons facing the death penalty when the president-elect takes office in January. A New York prosecutor has said that 33-year-old Sebastian Zapata, the man accused of burning a woman to death inside a New York subway train, used a shirt to fan the flames. The comment was made on Tuesday at Zapata's arraignment on murder charges. According to U.S. federal immigration officials, Zapata is a Guatemalan citizen who entered the U.S. illegally, was not required to enter a plea, and did not speak at the hearing in the Brooklyn Criminal Court. His lawyers did not even ask for bail. Zapata will remain jailed at New York City's Rikers Island complex and is due back in court on Friday. U.S. President Joe Biden has signed the National Defense Authorization Act for the fiscal year 2025. Now, this move is aimed at boosting America's military spending to $895 billion, marking a 1% increase from the previous fiscal year. However, the decision to increase military spending has sparked controversy. Some members of the Congress have voiced concerns over the allocation of such a large budget amid growing domestic challenges. South Korea's main opposition party has vowed to impeach acting President Han Duck-soo, but reversed an earlier plan. It has decided to wait until later in the week as the risk of further political uncertainty remains heightened. Now, the move comes as the country is reeling from impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol's short-lived bid to impose martial law on the 3rd of December, that he partly blamed on the opposition's propensity to impeach government officials. According to a Reuters report, Chinese authorities have agreed to issue $411 billion worth of special treasury bonds next year. Now, these would be the highest on record as Beijing ramps up fiscal stimulus to revive a faltering economy. Now, the plan for 2025 sovereign debt issuance would be a sharp increase from this year's 1 trillion yuan. The move comes as Beijing moves to soften the blow from an expected increase in U.S. tariffs on Chinese imports when President Donald Trump takes office in January. An explosion at an armament factory in northwest Turkey has left at least 12 dead and 4 injured Tuesday morning. The blast occurred in the capsule production facility of the factory located in the province of Balıkesir, according to the state-run media agency. Now, Balıkesir Governor Ismail Ustangu has said the explosion collapsed the building and that surrounding buildings sustained minor damage. Justice Minister wrote on social media platform X that 4 public prosecutors have been assigned to investigate the cause of explosion. According to international hunger experts, famine is spreading in Sudan as a result of relentless war between the military and a paramilitary group that has wrecked the country and created the world's largest displacement crisis, viewers. Experts detected famine in 5 areas in the northeastern African country, including Sudan's largest displacement camp, Zamzam, in North Darfur province, where the famine was announced for the first time in August this year. Now, Sudan has been roiled by a 20-month war that has killed more than 24,000 people and driven over 14 million people out. That's about 30% of the population, for perspective, from their homes. According to Haiti's online media association, 2 reporters have been killed and several others injured in a gang attack on the reopening of Port-au-Prince's biggest public hospital. Street gangs have taken over an estimated 85% of Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince, as they forced the closure of the general hospital early this year. Authorities have pledged to reopen the facility, but as journalists gathered to cover this event, suspected gang members opened fire in a vicious Christmas Eve attack. A major storm pounded California's central coast on Monday, bringing flooding and high surf. The storm fatally trapped a man beneath debris on a beach and later partially collapsing a pier, tossing 3 people into the Pacific Ocean. The storm was expected to bring hurricane-force winds and waves of up to 18 meters in height as it gained strength from California to the Pacific Northwest. Tens of thousands of homes in Bosnia were left without electricity after more heavy snow and winds that also brought traffic chaos in neighboring Croatia and Serbia. Throughout the Balkans, authorities issued travel warnings as snow drifts closed major routes, including sections of motorways in Croatia, Bosnia, Serbia, and Croatia even banned the movement of heavy vehicles and imposed limited traffic levels on affected roads. Parts of Bosnia faced a total halt of railway traffic as well because of the snow. It's time to slip into a very short break, viewers. I'll see you on the other side. Welcome back. Brazilian authorities have halted the construction of a factory for Chinese electric vehicle giant BYD, or Build Your Dreams, saying workers were forced to live in conditions comparable to quote-unquote slavery. According to a statement from the Public Labor Prosecutor's Office, more than 160 workers have been rescued in Brazil's northeastern state of Bahia. They were allegedly put in a degrading environment and had their passports and salaries withheld by a building company. Now, BYD has said in a statement that it had cut ties with the firm involved and remained committed to a full compliance with the Brazilian legislation. Toyota Motors has reported its 10th consecutive month of declining global production in November. The company manufactured just over 869,000 vehicles. It's a 6.2% drop from last year and a steeper decline than October's 0.8%. US production fell by nearly 12%, but there's hope on the horizon as Toyota resumed production of its Grand Highlander and Lexus TX SUVs in late October amid a 4-month halt. Despite production challenges, the world's largest automaker saw worldwide sales grow for the second consecutive months, driven by strong demand in the US and China. China CATL, the world's largest EV battery maker, has introduced a groundbreaking EV chassis that aims to redefine vehicle safety and production efficiency. Dubbed Banshee of Bedrock, the chassis can withstand frontal impacts at speed of up to 120 kilometers without catching fire or even exploding. Its battery delivers an impressive range of 1,000 kilometers on a single charge. The platform also slashes production timelines from the usual 36 months to just 12 to 18. Now, CATL is targeting premium car manufacturers with this innovation, aiming to accelerate their development cycles and reduce costs. India is accelerating its ambitions in the global space industry, with 30 private companies responding to the government's call to develop and operate Earth observation satellite constellations. Now, this innovation public-private partnership aims to reduce India's dependence on foreign satellite data, which is critical for defense, infrastructure management, and climate monitoring. The country is positioning itself as a leader in the small satellite and data services market, which is projected to reach $45 billion by 2030. New Delhi's bold initiative is set to play a transformative role in the commercialization of space, benefiting industries ranging from telecommunications to disaster management. In a surprising move, Apple has asked to participate in Google's upcoming US antitrust trial over online search, arguing that it cannot depend on Google to defend their multi-billion-dollar revenue-sharing agreements. Now, these deals make Google the default search engine on Apple's Safari browser, netting Apple an estimated $20 billion in 2022 alone. Apple's lawyers have clarified that the company has no plans to build its own search engine and will call witnesses in the trial scheduled for April. prosecutors are expected to push for drastic measures against Google, including the potential sale of its Chrome browser to Android OS to restore competition in online search. Staying with Google, the company's proposed changes to its search result formats to comply with EU's strict Digital Markets Act have garnered support from airlines for Europe. A lobbying group representing major carriers like Air France, KLM, and Lufthansa. These changes are part of Google's efforts to address demands from various industries, including price comparison sites, hotels, and small retailers, while avoiding fines of up to 10% on its global annual revenue. Hundreds gathered at the midnight Christmas Mass in Bethlehem, where the leader of the Catholic Church in the Holy Land, Cardinal Pizzabella, was present. Bethlehem marked another somber Christmas Eve in the traditional birthplace of Jesus under the shadow of war in Gaza.
As on the day of Median, for every communion dress, they named him Wonder.
NASA astronauts Sunita Williams, Don Pettit, Nick Hague, and Butch Wilmore shared a holiday greeting from outer space while expressing their best wishes to those back home on Earth. Now, Williams and Wilmore have been stranded in space since June. Listen in.
Family and loved ones. This year.
Welcome to the International Space Station as we get ready for the Christmas holidays. It's a great time of year up here. We get to spend it with all of our family up on the International Space Station. There's 7 of us up here, and so we're going to get to enjoy company together. And one of the best things that I like about Christmas is the preparation and just getting ready, the anticipation, everybody getting together and preparing stuff and just getting ready for the holiday. And a couple little things we have here with us to just prepare, which will be sort of fun in a couple days.
Hundreds of Greeks gathered outside Athens City Hall in the capital on Christmas Eve to make a wish and release paper lanterns into the night sky. Now, the annual gathering is the city's central Kotsia Square was overseen by Haris Doukas, the mayor of Athens. Now, this event was organized by the municipality of Athens. Santa and his reindeer traded the sledge for water skis as they hit the waves of the Potomac River to deliver joy and cheer in Washington, D.C. area. The event has been held in Virginia for 39 years as volunteers showed off their skills on water even in minus 30-degree weather. The North American Aerospace Defense Command continues its decades-long program, which it simulates the tracking of Santa Claus as he leaves the North Pole to travel around the world with a mission to deliver gifts to children on Christmas Eve. Listen in.
We track Santa just to make sure that he can traverse safely across the world, but also to make sure that we tell children all over the world where he is so they can make sure that they're in bed and asleep by the time he gets to their area, because we all know that he'll pass them by if they're not asleep.
That's all we have for you today. I'll see you tomorrow. But until then, viewers, take care and enjoy the festival responsibly.